Simon, thank you very much indeed to appearing on Nape YouTube and to sort of tell us about how you run the theatre and the ups and downs and what you've actually done in the past. So actually my first question is, could you give me the context of the company, the children's theatre that you run?
Well, so one of my jobs is running Telling Tales Theatre Company with my wife, and principally what we work on is we have Saturday classes, so we have a Saturday school and we do holiday workshops.
Yes.
Quite a lot of our focus with Telling Tales is on both drama and musical theatre. Our children are largely from the age of 5 to 12, although we do go up to 16. And I think one of the reasons why we do a lot of musical theatre as well as drama is it's a very good way of involving large numbers of children. It's a very good way of capturing the interest of younger students. So we do both. We do both drama and musical theatre. We also have our Saturday school pupils involved in a pantomime each year, a local pantomime here in Oundle, which is a quite small town, but a town nonetheless. We have a 264-seat theatre, the dressing room of which I am currently in right now. So we do that once a year, and we try to give our students a range of experience, from work that is quite serious to work that is quite frivolous. We try to give them some opportunities to work in small groups as well as large groups, and we do some lambda teaching as well. So I'd say actually what we do with Telling Tales is the kind of work that you will helpfully find in most towns and cities, because it is a great way for children to spend some time at the weekend. We try not to focus on the idea that we are coaching children to become professionals, although if that does happen, then fantastic. But we try to focus on what drama and theatre and musical theatre can do for children's confidence and their abilities and all of those things, which aren't really to do with whether they go on to become a performer, although if they do, that's something we can help them with too.
Yeah, that's absolutely great sort of place to start. So in terms of schools at the moment are rather concerned post-COVID about children's well-being. I mean, there's been an underlying current going on for some time, but of course this is now raised in terms of children being at home, away from their friends. How important do you think drama has been?
I suppose there's two things going on there. There's the fact that it's been harder than ever to deliver drama, and at the same time, the sense of comradeship and community that you get from being involved in drama classes has never been more needed. Very soon after the first lockdown began, we went online with our Saturday pupils. We tried to do shorter sessions, but throughout the week. Now, actually, in the first lockdown, we felt that the benefit of that was really felt with the students who gave that a try, because they were all of a sudden without the company of children their own age. Most weren't taking part in live lessons where they interacted in any way with other students. So the fact they were able to come onto Zoom and do group exercises was really, really helpful. And actually, whereas I tried to keep focused on a task in hand, the fact that they also had a desire to chat to each other about what was going on was something we tried to facilitate too, just a little bit, because the need, especially in those first few weeks, to kind of share this experience with people at a time when we weren't really supposed to be sharing anything with anyone, was really, really important. That said, for some people, doing drama from the end of a internet connection was just not for them. Some tried. Generally speaking, our students got an awful lot out of it. Actually, some students, I think, had some fatigue from all the classwork they were doing through live lessons, which some schools were doing very, very quickly, and didn't want to spend more time on Zoom lessons.
Screen.
Exactly. Some just wanted to lap it up regardless. Some were doing work that was set by their teachers, but with very little interaction with their school teachers and classes, and therefore those classes we were providing was the only contact they were having with non-family members. So that was really, really useful.
Did you get parental feedback as well about the whole process of being?
Yeah. So some were just very, very relieved and thought it was fantastic. Now, actually, the thing we were slightly worried about was that as a company, we have not been able to operate live for much of the last year. There have been some windows of time when we have, and we are now running live lessons again, thank goodness, for the last couple of weeks. We were worried actually that when students went back to school but weren't able to be doing extracurricular in school, that more of our students would peel away because they were now having contact with their fellow pupils through school. But actually that didn't happen. And actually the classes, I think what happened was, what happened with COVID generally is those things which we thought might not last, we might have to try for a little while, actually became habitual and in some ways became fine. So we were running virtual lessons just a month ago, maybe a month and a half, with lots of the same pupils that we were doing lessons with a year and 2 months ago.
So in terms of the material that you did online, did it change? Was it different in any way?
Oh yeah.
And what sort of material did you use?
Well, so
that's a difficult question.
We still did quite a lot of games, drama exercises. Now, some things that we do live, we could do virtually, and it was quite fun.
Yes.
Some things we tried, and as with a lot of drama teaching, when things aren't working brilliantly, you move on quickly, and that's fine, and no one notices. So we tried a lot of things. Actually, when it came to going through scripts and things, that was still possible, but we found that our students, especially our slightly older ones, really liked the idea of going into a Zoom room, with 4 or 5 people going through scripts, and that really helped. We did a lot of things where we were actually gathering material. So we had pupils film things themselves between classes that we could then show and edit and put together. I mean, from a company's point of view and from a personal point of view, I'm now au fait with filming in a way that I haven't been before, and I think that will be really useful going forwards.
True.
So that's really good. I mean, I think a lot of us have been exposed to certain applications and skills which we hadn't before, and I think
thinking about the younger children, the primary age children, what sort of content did you put within these? You talked about breakout rooms and Zoom.
I mean, obviously, depending on the age, sometimes you just want to make sure they're supervised all the time. Sometimes not. But the one thing we did get a rich vein of ideas from is just the fact that they were in their homes and what opportunities that brought, as well as disadvantages. So the fact that they could go and grab some props, and they could go and grab clothes, and they could even involve their family in exercises, even that was quite fun. It was important that we do have a good relationship with parents as well, and that we were also very careful to make sure that as part of our drama classes, our students weren't going around wrecking their parents' homes. But the idea that they were in situ at home, if you use those things as an advantage, that's great. So you take.
Well, that sounds as if it worked really well.
Yeah.
In terms, give us an example of what you would ask them to do. Is that possible? At the top of
yes, it certainly is. So I suppose, well, for instance, if you're doing an exercise, a make-believe exercise, we did some work. We did some work around the idea that because people were locked away during COVID, that maybe all those spaces that were now empty might become populated with animals. Which is something actually which did to a certain extent happen, didn't it? We saw moose in the streets of Scotland and things like that. So we do something themic about the time we're in, but it was possible to literally say, I want you to go make yourself up to look like the kangaroo you've decided you are, or the moose, and that's fun. They liked that, and also the extent to which they enjoyed inviting their friends into their home in some small way was something that they really liked. we would also try to use the mute button on Zoom calls. So when people would talk and not talk, and sometimes we'd have exercises where they would be deliberately talking as if they could be heard, but we all knew they couldn't be. And there's all sorts of ways of playing with the technology itself, which I think can be interesting. Honestly, I think the best way in all sorts of regards with drama is to use any disadvantages and make them a benefit. So you need to use the situation as an opportunity, and the fact that we're dealing with a discipline which is about imagination and is about creativity means that that becomes the tools you use.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the wonderful thing about weekly classes with younger students, but where you do have them for 3 hours, which is quite a long time actually in the modern age. Children are buzzing classes, and we break it up because we do dance and singing and drama, but we do have time to allow pupils to investigate things for themselves and to frequently come up with their own ideas. And I think that personally, I'm not a fan of a morning of activities ever being just about learning things.
So nothing too structured is what you're saying.
Oh, well, we are structured, but I suppose for me, we have some students that want to learn some dance moves, learn some notes. They love the technical aspect of theatre, which I really admire and I love.
Yes.
And I think it's an important thing to teach theatre as a discipline. But I think if a morning goes past when students haven't also been given the opportunity to create a character, feel like they have ownership over some material, investigate the internal life of themselves or characters, I think that some students would become dissatisfied. I think you have to try and do all of those things all at once, the creative side as well as the technical side.
As you say, it's all about engagement of that individual.
Yeah.
So if a teacher or school wanted to inject more sort of drama opportunities in the school, and this is a really difficult question, I appreciate that, how could this be done almost sort of seamlessly, sort of build it in within the curriculum that the school currently offers?
Well, so I suppose there's two things. I suppose there's two things. One is, which obviously I'm a huge advocate for schools doing drama for drama's sake within drama lessons, and there being as many opportunities as possible. Now, that said, something I find very interesting is the use of drama within other subjects, and I really like the idea of improvisation specifically helping with investigating other subjects. Now, I've actually done some work with PhD design students using performance exercises to help them develop ideas, and this is with students who will often be rather reserved. They won't have experience performing at all, but I'd be really very interested to see how that could be fed into classes with younger students. The idea of story, for instance. So if you take an object and give it a character and you tell the story of its life, that can be a fascinating way of looking at, say, design, but also role play when you're investigating history. Now, actually, I think a lot of teachers would say, or maybe they don't realize, but actually drama games, drama exercises, I think they often do creep into other lessons. I think that happens more and more when the students are younger. I personally would advocate for all of those techniques carrying on when students are older too. But I've even done some work when it comes to trying to be physically active whilst coming up with ideas. So using drama to think and imagine in a physical space as opposed to just being caught behind a screen. I think all that can be really, really useful. So I suppose our innate desire to play and come up with stories and put life into a narrative, I think that there are frequently possibilities to do that within, well, I'm sure absolutely every single lesson subject that there is.
Plenty of opportunities there to do it. Simon, was there anything you wanted to add to our little talk before I stopped?
Oh, I can't think of anything specific. I do like the sound of my own voice though, so I can just speak. It's probably
Well,
best if I
you are
stop
an
myself
actor.
there.
That's understood. Simon, thank you very, very much
It's a real
indeed.
pleasure.